Hey everybody, Middle Guy back again. And in this video I want to talk about this this clip from The Hill regarding Gavin Newsom and how he's destroyed California, which he literally has. If you haven't watched any of my videos before, I'm born and raised in California, still live in California. And I've seen this state go from great to a place where everyone wanted to move to just a complete shithole bordering on a third world country, honestly. Between the homelessness, the illegal aliens, the decriminalization of so many things like theft, it's disgusting at this point now. I mean, this state has gone down so far. We are so deep in a financial hole. Everything is so fucking expensive. The taxes are so fucking high. It's ridiculous. It's the reason that so many people have left the fucking state, especially all the money has left the state, which I guarantee the lawmakers aren't telling us the complete story about how deep in the shit we are as far as our debt goes and as far as the deficit for the budget goes, because I guarantee they're overestimating the amount of tax dollars that they're going to fucking bring in for this year. And we're going to be in a shit ton more trouble come next year, if I'm even still in this state, but that's another story for another day. But let's get into this video here from The Hill. And yeah, we'll watch this and discuss as we go.
The California dream is as good as dead, according to journalist and author Susan Crabtree.
No, she's right, it is.
Forthcoming book, Fool's Gold, the radicals, con artists, and traitors who killed the California dream and now threaten us all. Crabtree points...
That's a perfect description of what's happened to California, literally. And the four idiots on the cover right there of that book are four of the main people who've destroyed this fucking state.
To the mounting crises that have plagued the Golden State for years, from devastating wildfires, skyrocketing homelessness, ever-increasing drug-related deaths, to smash-and-grab theft. This all happened on Democrats' watch.
Don't forget the illegal aliens, immigrants, whatever the fuck you want to call them, giving them everything for free, too.
Writes, quote, "People don't know is what's driving these failures, why California's leaders have allowed them to spiral, and how this contagion could spread to every other city and town in the United States if it isn't exposed for what it is, failed far-left social experimentation."
Exactly. She's exactly right. Like I always ask, if progressive policies work, why aren't they working? They're not working. You know why? Because they've never worked anywhere ever, and they never will work anywhere ever, because we don't live in a fucking utopia. We live in this place called reality, where people are shitty, and there needs to be consequences and accountability for your actions. Plain and simple. And the government needs to stay out of people's business and leave them the fuck alone and let them live their lives and stop overtaxing the shit out of them.
With us now is Susan Crabtree. She and journalist Jed McFadder co-authored this book, Fool's Gold, being released tomorrow. Welcome, Susan.
I'm going to have to read that book.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So it sounds like you really let the Democratic Party have it for its failed governance in the Golden State. Tell us more about the...
Have it? She's speaking fucking facts. What do you mean have it? She's speaking facts, dude.
The thesis of your book.
Well, the whole thesis is basically that California has become a dystopia, and the middle class California dream is no longer. It is now a...
No, it's a goddamn nightmare, honestly, in California. A fucking nightmare.
Fool's errand to pursue that dream unless you are a moneyed elite, just like Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris. They all...
But even the rich people are leaving. So it's only the fucking crooked politicians that are staying.
All have so many ties, and we also go into each other, and we also go into the CCP, the Newsom selling out California to the Chinese communist government, and how...
Oh, absolutely. Does anybody in California remember when he signed that deal for like $200 million to buy masks? And suddenly we never got the masks and nobody ever questioned what the hell happened to the money. It was just gone. So weird. That's so crazy.
All of the gory details of how that played out.
So what would you point to as the largest crisis California is facing right now? Is it the high...
Everything, literally everything. As a California resident, it's everything.
Cost of buying homes? Is it actually the drug-related crime issues? What is the main thing chasing people who are leaving California? Why are they leaving?
Why is Amazon paying me
I'll tell you why they're leaving.
$63,000 a month? Well,
because California is turning into a shithole.
We have the highest costs of almost everything, from utilities to gas to housing, everything, and we're not getting the benefits of safety. And
she's absolutely right.
I really believe that the crime issue is one of the biggest things that are driving people away. And from our
The crime is too, but it's not being able to fucking afford anything. It's ridiculous. The gas alone, we're taxed so much on the gas, it's insane. It's like $1.50 more than the national average. It's fucking insane.
Our book, we point out, we uncover the fact that Gavin Newsom, during the COVID pandemic, he released 70,000 prisoners, some of them violent, back onto the streets. His excuse was because they were safer. There was going to be a...
Yeah, that's complete facts right there. You can look it up if you don't believe her or me. Look it up.
COVID epidemic in the prisons, but they were safer out in the communities.
And here's my thing about the COVID shit, not to go off, not to starburst off, but if COVID was so bad, it would have literally wiped out the entire homeless population in the state. But I don't remember hearing of any COVID spreading through homeless people. It's so crazy.
We found out that was a complete fabrication, that the COVID rates were higher in the communities than they
All
were.
Newsom does is lie.
We talked to whistleblowers about this. So yes, again, all of...
Shocking. Newsom lied. Wow, I'm so surprised by that.
What Gavin Newsom is performative, not performance-based. And
Gavin Newsom is a human piece of feces. Literally.
That's why he thinks he can run for president via podcast while his state is still in shambles.
So,
Gavin Newsom will never be the president of the United States. Never.
Susan, we hear this view, particularly from conservatives, quite a lot about how Democrats have ruined California and made it a dystopia in your judgment.
I'm not a Republican and I'm saying it. I know they've ruined it. I fucking live here, asshole.
Last November, Kamala Harris carried the state by 20 points. Newsom, after the pandemic in 2022, won re-election by 19 points. So if the Democratic Party is the problem, why do Californians not agree?
Because the people in California are liberal idiots.
Because it's a one-party state now.
Republicans can run, can they not?
What? They can run.
And they lose.
Oh yeah, they can run, but they get no backing and no financing, which is a huge problem. And it shouldn't be a problem at all, but it is a huge problem. Look at how much money Adam Schiff spent compared to Steve Garvey. Just go look at that, and that'll show you right there. California needs to spend more money. The Republican Party, if they want California, they need to come here and spend more money. Plain and simple. That they need to put more money into the state.
Generally, do they not?
Absolutely. The independents are growing, and Donald Trump made inroads. So he had
She's right.
6 million to Kamala Harris's 9 million, which was like 2 million greater than last time around. So there are some trends that it's turning.
Yeah, Trump made huge strides in California, like huge. If you go look at the electoral map of California, huge strides.
Right, there's a rightward trend across the state, and you see in Los Angeles and San Francisco, they both kicked out their lenient on crime prosecutors, and they passed a big crackdown on crime, getting rid of some of Gavin.
Yeah, Gascon got recalled. Queso Boudin in San Francisco and Pamela Price in Alameda County all got recalled within the last 2 years. So people are tired of the shit in California, of the crime, especially the crime. And those are heavy blue areas, like superhero liberal people. It's ridiculous how liberal these people are. But they recalled those people because they were tired of the crime. So that tells you people are getting sick of the progressive shit in California because it doesn't work, and they're seeing that it doesn't work.
Gavin Newsom's policies and George Gascon, the LA prosecutors' policies that were so soft on crime that it led to all these smash and grab robberies.
Yep, exactly.
across the states. So we do see a trend. There's a chance. It'll depend on who runs for governor. And we know Kamala Harris is already in the running and she's leading the polls. But we need a
I don't understand how. That's how stupid California is. Kamala Harris is leading for the governor of the state. When we saw how incompetent she was as vice president and while she was running for president against Trump, people are still willing to vote for her and put her in a power position. It's unbelievable to me. It's utterly unbelievable.
breakout candidate, a Republican candidate, to really challenge her and make sure that she's being held, her feet are being held to the fire. And we already hear some rumblings that Rick Grinnell might be one of those, and a very very popular sheriff in Riverside County named Bianco is also going to be running.
What do you?
But they need to put money behind whoever decides to run on the Republican side. They have to. The Republican National Committee has to put money behind whoever's running if they want to have a chance in California.
Make of Gavin Newsom seeming to pivot recently to the right, just talking with Charlie, trying to make common cause with Charlie Kirk, a very popular conservative commentator, saying that he agrees with the not even the conservative view, the majority view on.
Yeah, how is men and women's sports a view of anybody with half a brain? How could you allow that? How is that a right-wing thing to want to keep men out of women's sports? I don't understand that. The left's supposed to be the party of the feminists and for women and all this, but they're going to let men compete against women and take away their fucking opportunities. That I don't understand. And they're trying to double and triple down on that shit.
Trans women competing in women's sports. Does he have some kind of perception that that he should come off as more moderate or something like that? And has it showed up in any of his policies?
It actually has not showed up in any of his policies. That's the perfect question.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't changed any policies since he said that, or even before he said that. He's just trying to run for president, so he wants to start looking more moderate.
And he's basically performative. He's not, he likes to
He's
say
huge
things
performer.
good. But when you look at his policies, had Representative Ro Khanna asking him.
Ro Khanna's a jackass too.
So what are you changing about this 2013 law that allows trans athletes, biological men, to participate in women's sports and girls' sports in high school? And I wrote a piece last week.
He's going to do nothing, and he'll do nothing.
That his wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, she was participating and partnering with a pro-trans athletes in high.
His wife is a fucking complete and total moron. Well, I mean, she's married to him, so that tells you all you need to know about her.
Soul Sports group, nonprofit, just late last month. So, I asked his office if there was any change whatsoever in his policies, and they just pointed to his comments with Charlie Kirk on his podcast. They had nothing new to add.
Of course they don't, because they don't know what to do. They're probably in shock that he fucking said that too. He's probably trying to figure out how to do damage control with the far left when he needs to just tell them to go piss off somewhere and go with common sense.
Susan, in terms of the broader case that you're making, it is quite commonplace to say the faults that exist in California are an indictment of Democratic leadership, which
No, they are. The Democrats have been in charge of California since the early 80s. This is exactly because of fucking failed Democrat leadership and because they keep going further left. That's a huge part of the problem too. If they were moderate, things would probably be fine, but they're not. They're like leftist lunatics here in this state. It's ridiculous. It all started when Reagan opened up the mental asylums again. It's just insane. We need to open them back up again. That's where most of these woke people were before those were closed. They were in fucking mental asylums.
I think is your point. And I know this is a big topic to get into as an almost final question, but it seems to me that argument is made almost exclusively about Democratic-run states. And I was looking at the state rankings for...
Well, because it's true. And here he goes with this state ranking bullshit.
For state...
Here's my thing. The state ranking bullshit doesn't mean nothing. If you have one city that's ruining the whole state, especially if you have a smaller state, it's not going to matter what the rest of the state is doing.
The US News and World Report happens to do one ranking. And the state of Mississippi is 50th in the economy, 50th in health, 48th in infrastructure, 35th in education. Why is that never said as an indictment of Republican rule?
You literally picked one state, dude. Why don't you look at Florida and Texas? Why don't you bring up those states? That's one fucking state. One state. And shit's still ass backwards there in Mississippi.
But California is cited as an indictment of Democratic rule.
You won't believe how old this couple is.
Excuse me? I ask people who are in really good shape what kind of diets they're on.
This is unbelievable. This I don't know what kind of question that even is.
Well, that's an interesting concept. You don't have a lot of people, you don't have a mass exodus from last time I checked out of Mississippi.
Well, Mississippi's a super small state too. So, I mean, there's that.
You have so many people leaving. During Gavin Newsom, this is the first time that you've had such an exodus out of the state. And
No, but my point, hold on, you can't just measure a state's performance purely on the basis of population.
No, you can't. But when that many people leave in that little amount of time, what does that tell you? Common sense tells you that shit's not right and they're tired of it. California's grown population for forever, until recently. So that you can use that as a parameter to test how a state is doing. Because if the state was doing great and it was prosperous, why wouldn't more people be coming here as opposed to leaving? So that makes no goddamn sense at all, dude.
Flows. There are things like quality of life. There are things like education.
Quality of life is subject to every person. Quality of life is different to everybody. So you can't really rate. I don't know why they try to rate quality of life, because what the fuck does that even mean? Well, these are the parameters. Okay, well, everyone's different. How many people did you talk to? 100? Talk to everyone in the state. Or why don't you go talk to the people that left and ask them why they left? Instead of using some stupid ass, the quality of life. No one cares, dude. No one cares. I'll tell you. My quality of life is fine, but California is still a shithole.
Educational standards and health standards. My point is, when there are Republican-led states that have obviously enormous problems, why is that never held as an indictment of Republicans?
I don't know. Why don't the Democrats ever bring it up or say anything about it then? Why don't they do that to attack Republican policies?
Republican policy.
I am taking a look at California. So my belief system is that you.
Yeah, and here's my thing. Why should I give a shit about Mississippi? I live in fucking California, dude. I don't live in Mississippi. I could give two fucks less what the hell they're doing there. I'm worried about the state I fucking live in. I'd be worried about Mississippi if I fucking lived there.
Have to
Taking a look at the Democratic Party from a critical perspective, no?
Why is it wrong to criticize failure? I don't understand that. Especially if you're from that state or you live in that state. Why is that an issue? This dude obviously doesn't live in California.
I am looking at California, so I am looking at my state. I actually live here, and it's been a transformation since I grew up in the 80s and 90s here.
Thank you.
And it is what I feel like is we have so many poor standards when it comes to education as well. So
California ranks last in the number of high school graduates per capita out of the 50 states. California, we ranked 43rd in education out of 50 states. But we spend the most money per capita on students.
We are, there's not a lot of things except for we do have a good economy. Gavin Newsom likes to say that.
Our economy is not good. It's really not good.
But what we do have record, especially during the pandemic, we had record unemployment here as well.
Unemployment is still over 5% in California. And we don't have a good economy. We don't.
So I think you're making a good point, but that's not something that we took a look at in this book. We're looking at what is happening with California and why are the policies being exported across the country. And why does Gavin Newsom think that he can run when he spent $24 billion on homelessness and he can't account for it and it's getting worse?
Yeah, he lost $20 billion in homeless funding. And why is this asshole asking a question about another state when she literally wrote a book about California? Ask some shit about California, you jerk off.
Right. The trajectory of California's fate being, I think, what you're paying.
The trajectory is fucking this. It's nosediving. The bottom isn't far away. It's about to crash. Trust me, I live in California.
Some attention to from a place where so many wealthy and bright people chose to live, and whether that will continue to be
They're all leaving.
the case. Susan Crabtree, sounds like a fascinating book. Look forward to reading it. Thank you so much for coming on Rising.
Appreciate it, Robbie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so there you go. We saw that. And everything this lady said is 110% accurate. She's absolutely right. So I definitely want to read that book. If you're from California or you want to know about California and why California is so fucked up, go read that book. Because I guarantee you she's going to say everything in there that's correct and accurate if she lives in the state. Democrats have been in charge, like I said, since the early 80s. And things were okay. They just progressively gotten worse. But since Newsom has taken over, they've went down so much, it's just ridiculous. The bleeding heart liberal leftist bullshit has got to stop. California needs to get its shit together or it's never going to get better here. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Everybody, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Everybody have a lovely rest of your day, evening, morning, whenever you're watching this. Give me a like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on X at middleguy7, and I will see everybody in the next one. Take care. Thank you.